In the winter of 1959, 9 experienced hikers set out on the journey through the frozen wilderness of the Ural Mountains. They were young, skilled, and used to harsh conditions. This was supposed to be just another expedition, but something happened in the middle of the night that forced all 9 of them to cut their way out of their tent and run into the freezing darkness, barefoot. Weeks later, search teams would discover their bodies scattered across the snow. Some had strange injuries, one missing a tongue, and even today, more than 60 years later, no one can state with certainty what truly frightened them that night. The group was led by a 23-year-old engineering student named Igor Dyatlov. The expedition included 8 other students and graduates who love adventure and winter hiking. They were traveling deep into the remote mountains of what was then the Soviet Union. These were not beginners. In fact, all of them were trained hikers who had already completed very difficult tasks before. That's why this case is so strange. These were people who know how to survive in the cold, yet something happened that made them abandon their shelter in the worst possible moment during a freezing night when temperatures were far below zero. Honestly, when you think about it, experienced hikers leaving their tent like that suggests they must have believed something inside that tent was even more dangerous than the deadly cold outside. When search teams finally found the campsite weeks later, the first discovery was already disturbing. The group's tent was still standing, but it had been cut open from the inside. That means the hikers didn't exist normally. They panicked and sliced their way out. Footprints showed that they ran downhill away from the tent toward a nearby forest. Even stranger, most of them were only wearing thin clothing, socks, or no shoes at all. Imagine running through deep snow at night in those conditions. Psychologists often say that when humans experience sudden extreme fear, the brain can switch into survival mode. In that moment, people stop thinking logically. They simply run from whatever threat they believe is coming. But what could have scared 9 trained hikers so badly that they fled into a fleeting storm? The bodies were discovered days and weeks later in different locations. 2 hikers were found near a small fire under a tree, suggesting they tried to survive after escaping the tent. Others were scattered along the path back towards the campsite, as if they tried to return. But the most shocking discoveries were the injuries. One hiker had a fractured skull. 2 others had crushed ribs similar to injuries seen in severe car accidents. And one woman, Lindumnia Duminia, was missing her tongue and parts of her mouth. At first, these injuries made people think the group had been attacked, but investigators found no footprints from other people and no signs of a fight. That's the part that makes this case so unsettling. Something clearly went terribly wrong, but there was no obvious enemy. Over the years, many theories have been suggested. Some people believe a sudden avalanche may have forced the hikers to escape quickly. Others think secret Soviet military tests might have caused a powerful explosion or shockwave nearby. And of course, some people go even further and suggest paranormal explanations. Personally, the avalanche theory does explain some things, especially the panic and the injuries, but it still doesn't answer every question. Why were some of the hikers found far away from the tent? And why did some of be return to the campsite later? The truth is, the official investigation closed the case with a strange conclusion. The hikers died because of what they called an unknown compelling force. Even today, the Dyatlov Pass Incident remains one of the most mysterious tragedies in modern history. Now, if you enjoy real stories that leave more questions than answers, subscribe to the Unseen Case Journal for more mystery cases from around the world. Now tell me in the comments, what do you think really happened to the hikers that night in the mountains?